So we have this pillar outside our house, and I'm going to be putting up a post box because after 19 years it's probably a good place to have somewhere to put your post. So I'm going to put up a post box about here-ish, and then above it I'm going to do lettering and numbering of our house number so that the post, not man, postal worker knows which house this is. So here is the letterbox I plan on using, and by the box you can probably tell it's quite old and very, very dusty. So the first thing is to actually get it out of the box and take a look, see what it's like. With it out of the box now, I can actually get a look at it, and I can see there's actually a lock on it, but there was nothing in the box, so it must be inside, but they're specially designed so you can't steal people's mail. So let's see if I can get it out here. There we go. And there's the keys in here and some details, so I'll take a read at these. It actually came with a set of instructions of how to install it, a warranty and other stuff, a little bag with screws and roll plugs, and the keys. So, oh, it also came with this wee nameplate which you can etch your name into and what, but I'm not going to be doing that. I'm going to be making my own wooden letters to sit above it on the pillar, and that'll tell the address. So let's test the key here. There we go, and then with it open there's some instructions on the inside, and I don't see any mounting holes actually. There's some on the bottom, but there's none on the back. I'll have to take a wee look here. So after inspection, I've actually discovered that there aren't any mounting holes on the back, but there are some on the bottom, which is a bit useless because I want to put it up against a concrete pillar, so I'm going to have to drill my own mounting holes. To ensure I'll actually be able to mount this to the wall, I'm going to have to do the screws inside the opening here, because if I do them anywhere else on the back, I won't be able to access them that well, because there's the opening here and the hood up here. So I'll have to do it in the opening bit at the bottom. So I think 3 should be fine. So, and it also really doesn't matter the placement, so I'll do one about here. Can't see that at all. Well, there's no point in marking, but I'll do one here, and then one in the middle. So that's basically the box all finished and ready now. I literally just need to go put it on the wall. But I also want to do some lettering and numbering above the box, so I'm going to start work on that now. So I've printed out the size of the letters and numbers I want, and I like using templates because it does take a bit of extra work, but there's a lot less faff, and more importantly you can reuse it. So what I'm going to do is I'll cut these out to the rough shape, and then I'll stick them onto some cardboard, and then I'll cut them to the exact shape, and then I can just place it where I want it, take a pencil and go around it. So now the paper bits are stuck to the cardboard, I can cut them out exactly to their final shape and then trace around them. There we go. So those are the only 2 I actually need, because I can use this twice, and I'm not actually going to cut out this bit here because I don't have a scroll saw, so I would either have to do this with my coping saw or the jigsaw, and I don't like the jigsaw and the coping saw would take forever, so I'm just going to use a Forstner bit and drill straight through and I'll get a nice round hole. So this is the piece of wood that I'm going to be using for my lettering, and just big enough to fit on the 2 there, and the A can fit on this way even, but it is in really rough shape, so it's all dirty and grimy, and the other side is even covered in paint. So I'm going to try and remove as much as I can before I actually cut out the letters, because if I do it after, it's going to be quite fine due to all these twists and bends, and I don't want it to break. So I'll try and clean it up first. So I don't even actually need to clean the whole board, because I only need a certain bit. So I need about that much. Do a mark there, and much mark there, and a mark there. So I only actually need this much, and I'll just have to cut it to length then. I'm going to try and remove as much as paint of this paint as I can, but it's really thick stuff, so it's going to be hard to get off, but I'm going to do my best just with an old chisel, and we'll see where I get. Oh, it's not bad actually. I've basically got all the first layer of paint off, which was great because people always forget this, but when you do one layer of paint on top of another, it doesn't bond very well because the paint is just sticking to the other paint. So this is like a really good quality paint, but even so, maybe just the moisture and what, it just came off pretty easy. But this stuff is the stuff which is bonded to the wood, and it just isn't coming off. So I'm going to try and use, this old hand plane, which I'm yet to restore, and that'll hopefully be coming up soon, and see how far I get. Sleeves, of course. Now I've finished hand planing, I'm gonna make it all nice and smooth with sanding. So I like to start with 60 and then just do 120, and that works perfectly fine. So now that I have the wood all smoothed down, nice and smooth, yeah, it's smooth, what more can I say? I can now use my templates, and I can mark out where I want the letters. So the board is just about the right size, so let's get these marked out. Now I've got everything marked out, I can take it to the bandsaw and cut them out. And I like using the bandsaw because I like it. So one quick blade change later and we're ready to go. So with them all cut out now, they're still a bit rough on the edges, so I'm just going to go over with some sandpaper and ease them over. So with all these nice sanded up and nice corners, so you don't hurt yourself, you know, because a lot of people touch signs. Anyway, to attach these to the wall, I'm just going to use simple screws because what else am I going to use? It's concrete. And I thought it would probably be a good idea to drill the holes and countersink them before I finish them so that the finish can get into the holes, and because otherwise when you drill it exposes the fresh wood. So for finish I'm going to use varnish, particularly oil-based varnish, because I've used it outside a few times before and it seems to work pretty well. Besides, oil-based is the most, well, polyurethane-based is actually I think the most hard wearing, but it's expensive and I don't have any, so I'm going to use oil-based. So I've got my, I was going to say painting, but I'm not painting, my varnishing set up. So I've just got an old piece of bad blockboard, which is a massive hole in the middle because it's cheap stuff. And I've got my two triangular thingies, and I'll paint one side, flip them over, paint the tops and the sides, and then this way I can do it all in one coat. So this is the varnish I'm going to be using, Yacht varnish. No idea what that is, but it's oil based, I know that for sure, because on the back it says use white spirit. It's sneaky, they often don't actually say oil based on it, but you can tell because on the back here it says clean with white spirit or paint brush thinner, which is a clear indication that it's oil based. And this is the brush I'm going to be using, and it's red because red diesel is red. And if you don't know what red diesel is, I don't know what to explain. It's just diesel, but they make it red. So, yeah. Don't want to get this stuff in your hands. It's not so nice to get off. But I've dealt with worse, but I'll do my best not to get it on me. So I've been using a really high quality, expensive tool to keep my hands clean. Yep, that's it. Basically just push down and that'll hold it in place, because otherwise it can wiggle about the letters or whatever sometimes, so it's just to apply some force so that it doesn't wiggle. So this is them all yacht up, covered in that varnish. And it's nice and glossy right now, and maybe it'll stay that way, who knows. It's still nice and wet, so I'll just leave it overnight, come back in maybe 14 hours. That should be enough time, I'd think, and it'll be hopefully nice and dry, and then I can install them. So the main reason that most people don't use oil-based finishes is cleanup, but I have a procedure that works really well for me. And if you want, you can try it, but it's very, very important that you only use the exact equipment that I use. So the first component is an empty burger tray. Now this is very important because plastic is waterproof. The next is a little pint milk jug, and make sure that you buy the one that says red diesel on it. Now they're hard to come by, but today's local are very good at having them in. So what you do is you take your little pint, and I've used up some of mine, I got a bit thirsty earlier. So you can just pour it out just a wee bit. Just enough to squish the brush around in. So you just slop it around, and that'll dissolve up the oil-based finish, and you just do it for a few minutes, and then after you've finished mixing it up, you can hold it up, get as much of the drips out as you can, and then you just put your brush in this handy dandy other side of the burger container, and the rest of it will drip in there, and we'll just leave that overnight, and that will dry up, but it'll still remain soft. That's the main thing, because if you don't do this, the brush will go rock hard and you'll just have to chuck it. So 22 hours later, the finish is dry on the top, however it is tacky on the back side here, and you can see if I flip over how shiny it is, which is amazing. It's really shiny, and this is the back, so it don't really look good, but that don't really matter. So it's still tacky on the back here, and there's wet spots, so I'll leave it overnight, and tomorrow it should be ready. It is now 3 days after the initial coat, and the second coat is dry, no longer tacky. It's slightly tacky on the back, but I'll leave it a wee bit more, and then they'll be ready to put up. So I've taken all the ivy off the pillar, and it's nice and smooth and flat now. Well, not really that smooth because it's very old, it's from the war, and I've got the postbox here, so if I put it up at about this height, there's a nice height, but I want the lettering to go above it, so I'll have to put the postbox then actually quite low down, probably about there, because the pillar only goes up to here. I like the ivy above it actually, so I'll have to find a comfortable height for it, so probably about there's best, because the lettering has to go above it. So I'll just mark the position of the first hole, and then after that I can find where it's level for the next hole. Oh, push. There. The Hammer by DeWalt. So with one screw in, and I have a I now have a pivot point, and I'm just going to maneuver it until I find where it's level. Fits in nice, and it's level right there. So I've got to do that there. A marker, mark the hole. Ah, that didn't mark. Ah, hole's too deep. Ah. There we go, I think that was it. See? Nope, didn't mark. Ah, come on. Still not pointy enough. I brought it back up. I think that went through. Nope. Ah! Alright, I need to find something really, really pointy. Third time lucky. Some felt tips. Let's see, this better work. There we go. Oh hey, there we go, right through. There's the hole. There we go. And now the bottom one. Let's see. go. Ugh. There we go. That's our in place. So, as the Americans would say, I got a new mailbox and I put it in the drive. Now, the mailman can put it in the slot here and I can pick it out. However, it's protected from robbers because I have a key. Wow. Now I just have to add the letters on top here so they know what house it is. So the first thing I have to do is draw a level line just so that when I place the letters it'll look nice and level. So here's a letter and white. That height looks good. So I'll do a mark underneath there. And then using that mark the level, the level point, draw a line, then I'll mark center point relative to the post box, which is about there. Now I know that is where I want the center of the middle letter. So I want the middle letter to be bang on right there, because that's perfectly in line with the center of the post box. So I've put the screws in the letter and they're just poking out the back enough. Still no hammer. If I take this away, you can't see that, but I can. Don't think that's supposed to happen. Is that not like the whole point of SDS drills? So here we have it, all done and quite literally dusted. I'm a bit hot because I had to do some running there. But it's all done and I do all sorts of things, so if you want to see what other things I do, you can click down below. So thanks for watching.